Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're going to be taking a look at Texas Instruments,
Okay.
the semiconductor giant,
Right.
and we're going to see if their stock, TXN, is a buy.
Sounds good.
We've got this analyst report that's just a gold mine of data forecasts
Mm-hmm.
and even some juicy insider activity.
Oh, fun.
So
All right, let's
buckle up
get into it.
because we are about to find out if this tech titan is still soaring
Okay.
or if it's headed for turbulence.
Well, one thing that jumps out at me right away is this kind of push and pull between their past performance
Yeah.
and the current economic headwinds that they're facing.
You know, it's interesting because the report leads with TXN's Q4 2024 earnings beat.
Uh-huh.
And you think, oh, this is going to be a good story.
Right.
But then they hit you with this Q1 2025 guidance that falls short of expectations
Yeah.
and sends the stock price tumbling.
Yeah, you really got to wonder what's going on.
What's going on under the hood?
Yeah.
Like, how do you reconcile those two things?
Yeah. And what's really interesting is despite this recent dip,
Yeah.
they've got this history of delivering really impressive returns to investors.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, last year alone, they returned 6.87 per share
Wow.
through dividends and stock buybacks,
Wow. Excellent.
which is not bad at all, right?
Okay.
But at the same time, they're super reliant on the industrial and automotive sectors.
Right.
And, those are showing some signs of weakness.
Yeah.
And those two sectors make up 70% of the revenue.
So it's kind of like they're this powerhouse, but there might be a chink in their armor.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
But, on the other hand, the report does talk about their strengths.
Okay.
And one of the ones that really stands out is their cash flow generation.
Right.
Like, it's incredible.
They just keep churning out profits.
Yeah, like they have this money-making machine.
It's impressive.
And a big part of that is their focus on manufacturing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
They've been investing so heavily in building up their 300-millimeter wafer fabrication capacity. And they even got funding from the GHIBS Act,
Oh, wow.
which shows that, they're really serious about staying ahead of the curve.
So what does that mean exactly?
So basically, it lets them build what the report calls this wide economic moat.
A moat, like a castle.
Yeah, it's kind of like a durable competitive advantage that's hard for rivals to overcome.
So they're like building up their defenses.
Exactly.
Like.
And, it's not all about just brute force expansion.
Oh.
They're actually really disciplined about their spending.
Okay.
And they focus on this thing called free cash flow per share growth.
Okay. What is that?
It's basically how much more cash they're generating for each share that you own,
Oh, okay.
which, that's a good sign that they're really committed to growing your investment if you're an investor.
So that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
I'm following.
That's a green flag.
Okay, green flag. Got it.
But even with all these strengths, the report's not afraid to point out some potential risks.
Like what?
Well, we already talked about how reliant they are on those industrial and automotive sectors.
Right. And those are kind of in a downturn right now.
Yeah, and that makes you think, are they spreading themselves too thin?
I see.
And then there's the uncertainty with their embedded processing segment.
Oh, yeah. What's going on there?
Apparently the margins are super thin,
Huh?
and it's not clear if or when they'll recover.
So that's a bit of a question mark.
It's a big question mark.
Yeah.
And then there's also the China question.
Oh, right. The elephant in the room.
The report's a little concerned about the long-term sustainability of the Chinese market.
Well, yeah, I mean, China's a huge player in the global economy.
Yeah.
So any instability there could definitely impact companies like Texas Instruments.
Absolutely.
So we've got strengths, we've got uncertainties.
Yeah.
It's a lot to take in.
Yeah. It's like this tension between these impressive strengths and these looming uncertainties.
Right. And then to add to that, you've got analysts who are all over the place with their price targets.
Oh.
They range from a super bullish 298 to a pretty bearish 140.
It's a huge range.
It's a huge range.
It's like they're throwing darts blindfolded.
It really shows you how hard it is to predict where TXN is going.
Yeah, for sure.
But then the report throws in some really interesting beyond the numbers insights.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, this one really caught my eye. Ronald Kirk, director at TXN,
Yeah.
sold a ton of shares recently, over 10,500.
Wow.
So that makes you wonder,
What does he know?
exactly, is this a sign that he doesn't have confidence, or is it just a routine transaction?
It's a big sale, though.
It's a big sale.
So it makes you think.
Yeah, you always have to consider what the insiders are doing.
And then we also get this glimpse into their leadership team.
Oh, interesting.
The report highlights some of the key executives, their experience, how long they've been with the company.
So we get to see who's running the show.
Yeah. And that's important because Their track record and their vision are crucial for evaluating a company's potential.
They're the ones steering the ship. So where does all this leave us with Texas Instruments?
Well, I think it's pretty clear they're a complex company
Mm-hmm.
with some undeniable strengths and some potential vulnerabilities.
Absolutely.
That's a really fascinating case study
Yeah.
in how to navigate this crazy economic climate.
So the million-dollar question
Yeah.
is Texas Instruments' long-term potential worth riding out the short-term storm?
That's what we're here to figure
All
out.
right, let's dig in.
We're giving you the information, the insights,
Mm-hmm.
and even a little bit of drama.
A little bit of intrigue.
Now it's up to you to weigh the evidence and decide if TXN is a stock you want to add to your watch list.
Sounds good to me.
But we're not done yet.
Oh.
There's one more piece of the puzzle we need to explore,
Okay, I'm listening.
and that's the impact of the CHIPS Act on their future growth.
Right, the CHIPS Act, that's a big one.
Yeah, we touched on it earlier,
Yeah.
but it deserves its own deep dive.
All right, let's do it.
So this CHIPS Act could really be a game changer
Oh, yeah, for sure.
for Texas Instruments and the whole U.S. semiconductor industry.
Absolutely. It's a huge investment in
Yeah.
American technological independence.
It's kind of like we're saying, hey, we want to be a leader in this space.
Yeah, we're not going to rely on other countries for these crucial components anymore.
Exactly.
So what does the CHIPS Act actually do?
Well, it's providing billions of dollars
Wow.
in funding and tax breaks
Okay.
for companies like Texas Instruments to expand their manufacturing operations
Here in the U.S.
right here in the U.S.
So they can reduce their reliance on overseas production.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
It's all about bringing those manufacturing capabilities back home.
Yeah, I mean, global supply chains can be so vulnerable to disruptions.
Oh, yeah.
So it makes sense to have more control over production.
And it's not just good for the companies.
Right.
It's also good for American jobs.
Absolutely.
It's a win-win.
So how is Texas Instruments taking advantage of this?
Well, they're already jumping on this opportunity.
Oh.
The report mentions that they've secured a big chunk of CHIPS Act funding
To do what?
to build new 300-millimeter wafer fabrication plants.
Those are the fabs, right?
Yeah, the fabs.
And why are those so important?
Those fabs are essential for producing the advanced chips that are in everything.
Like what?
Smartphones, cars, industrial equipment, even military hardware.
Wow, so they're really at the heart of the tech world.
Absolutely.
So this is like setting them up to be a major player in the semiconductor world.
Exactly.
And for them specifically, it means they can increase production, lower costs,
Hmm.
and grab more market share.
Yep.
It's a smart move.
It's a really strategic move.
But it's not all smooth sailing.
Right.
I mean, building these fabs takes time and resources.
Yeah, it's a huge undertaking.
And there's no guarantee of immediate success.
Definitely not. And even with the government support, they still have to deal with the ups and downs of the semiconductor industry.
Right, that cyclicality.
Demand for chips can go up and down. And that can really affect their profitability.
For sure.
And then you've got those ongoing geopolitical risks.
Like the U.S.-China trade tensions.
Exactly. Those haven't gone away.
Yeah, that adds a whole other layer of uncertainty.
So it's not a simple equation.
No, it's not.
The CHIPS Act is a huge opportunity,
It is.
but it's not a guaranteed slam dunk.
So investors need to be aware of the potential benefits and the risks.
Exactly.
So we've got Texas Instruments' strengths, the headwinds they're facing, this wild card of the CHIPS Act, and the always unpredictable market.
That's a lot to consider.
It's the world of investing.
Yeah.
You got to analyze the data, understand the company's strategy, and then make an informed decision based on your own risk tolerance and investment goals.
And that's why these deep dives are so valuable.
Absolutely.
We're trying to cut through the noise,
Yep.
give you the insights you need
Mm-hmm.
to make those smart decisions.
So have we given you enough to make a call on Texas Instruments?
I think so.
All right.
We've walked you through the key points.
Yeah.
The potential red flags.
Yeah.
And the exciting opportunities.
And now the ball is in your court.
Exactly. You decide if TXN is a company you believe in, a stock you want in your portfolio, or just a fascinating case study.
That's up to you.
Okay, so we've covered a ton in this deep dive on Texas Instruments.
Yeah, we have.
But before we wrap up, I want to make sure our listeners have all the pieces
Okay.
to make their own decision about TXN.
Makes sense.
We've looked at their strengths, like their cash flow,
Right.
their investments in manufacturing,
Mm-hmm.
but we also talked about the risks,
Yeah, those are important too.
like how dependent they are on those cyclical industries
Yeah, that's a big one.
and that uncertainty with their embedded processing segment.
Right. Lots of moving parts.
Oh, and we can't forget about that insider trading,
Oh, yeah. Ronald Kirk.
selling all that stock.
We don't know for sure what that means,
Right.
but it's definitely something to consider.
It just adds another layer to think about.
Yeah, it's all part of the puzzle.
So at the end of the day, it's really up to you to
Mhm.
look at everything and decide.
If TXN is a buy, a hold, or a pass.
Exactly. It depends on your own strategy.
Right, your risk tolerance, your investment goals.
All that good stuff.
We're just here to give you the information, help
Yeah.
you think it through.
And hopefully make some smart decisions.
Speaking of smart decisions,
Yeah.
if you like these deep dives,
Yes.
make sure you hit that subscribe button
And the notification bell.
so you don't miss any future episodes.
We're always looking for interesting companies to analyze.
That's right.
And we want to empower you with knowledge.
That's our mission.
So until next time,
Happy investing, everybody.
keep those minds curious.